Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me and Jessica on this Gradcracker webinar with Unilever. I have worked with Unilever now for about 6 or 7 years, and we advertise their degree apprenticeships, placements, and graduate opportunities on Gradcracker. Their hub is full of useful information about who they are, what they do, and today we're going to find out even more from Ellen in the early careers recruitment team and placement students and grads who have also joined the call. We will talk to Unilever about who they are, what they do, and also what opportunities you, our STEM students, can apply to this year on Gradcracker. Starting, as I say, with our contact Ellen from the Future Careers team, we'll have an introduction to the business and also their opportunities and where you can be based in the early careers world. So Ellen, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, of course. So hi, everyone. I'm Ellen, and I have been with Unilever for 9.5 years now. And I actually started with Unilever on an apprenticeship program myself all of
Wow.
that time ago. So I did a level 3 kind of 18-month scheme. I've done a few different roles since then in HR, and then I've been in the Future Careers team for the last 5.5 years looking after our programs.
Fantastic. And what do you love about your job? What do you love about early careers?
I think it's the fact that I started as an apprentice myself. It's kind of like giving back and being able to provide that and those kind of opportunities to others to help kickstart their career or change up their career as well. You know, it's not just people leaving school looking for things like apprenticeship. So actually it's kind of helping people find their own career path is what I really love.
Yeah, absolutely. And I need to give a shout out to my contact at Unilever, who's a lady called Pearl, who's the HR IP there, and she's absolutely fantastic. And I know she's watching this webinar, so hello, Pearl. Report back afterwards to see if me and Ellen did any good. So just to talk about Unilever in more detail, if I can, Ellen, with you. So Unilever might not be a brand that everybody's aware of, but they are definitely aware of your brands under Unilever. So we've got brands such as Comfort, Hellmann's, Domestos, Dove, Lynx, Pot Noodles, students out there, Vaseline, just to name a few. But Unilever as a company, can you give me a bit more of an overview to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. So Unilever sits within the fast-moving consumer goods, or FMCG. You might hear some of us say that on this call. That's what it means, fast-moving consumer goods industry. And basically what that means is that we make and sell products that people, our consumers, use in their everyday lives. So some of the things you mentioned, Hellmann's, Pot Noodle, Dove, Domestos, Cif, they're things that people buy quite frequently from the big supermarkets or from things like Boots and Superdrug, and you use them quite frequently and you buy them quite frequently. That's essentially what the FMCG industry means. Unilever itself, so we are really big in the UK. We're present in around 98% of homes. I'm hoping a lot of you listening in have some of those products in your kitchen cupboards, your bathrooms,
Yes.
things like that you're using all of the time. And actually across the world, so we operate in around 190 countries, and across those countries, 3.4 billion people will use a Unilever product every single day. So that's a stat that, like I said, I've been here 9.5 years, and it still amazes me that many people around the globe are using our products. And so hopefully it gives you a bit of the size and the scale. And if you're ever unsure if it's a Unilever product, you just need to look on the back of it. And if there's a little Unilever U, that means it's us. We're not, Unilever isn't always the name plastered on the front. But if you want to find out if it's Unilever, the little U on the back of the packaging will normally tell you whether it's us or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started at Gradcracker 15, 16 years ago now, I used to start looking at the back of packet. Oh, it's Unilever. Oh, you just look at the label, don't you, and see that little U, and you know that this is Unilever. I've just let you all into a bit of a weird insight about me there. So you mentioned about your worldwide locations, Ellen, and you are spread across the world, specifically in the UK, within early careers. Where could the students be based?
So we have a few different locations and types of locations as well. So from an office perspective, where you could work in things like marketing, sales, HR, technology, legal, supply chain, they would be based in, so our UK headquarters is in Kingston upon Thames, which is kind of West London, if anyone's unfamiliar with it. We then have our global headquarters in central London, London Blackfriars. It's right opposite the station, if anyone is familiar with that area. And then we do also have an office in Port Sunlight, which is on the Wirral as well, near Liverpool. We then have sites that are our research and development sites and labs. So we have 3 of those across the UK. So we have Leeds, which is a big deodorant site. We have again one at Port Sunlight, which is mainly kind of home care, personal care products in our kind of portfolio. And then we do have a site in Colworth as well, which is where some of our joint ventures are based. So things like Pepsi Lipton are based out of Colworth. And then from a factory point of view, we have those dotted around the UK, but to name a few, Burton, which is not too far from Manchester, again, one in Port Sunlight, one in Leeds, and one in Crumlin, which is just over the border into Wales.
Perfect. And Natalia, just to put you on the spot a little bit, before the webinar, you were saying about Port Sunlight being the founding place where Unilever was set up. Was that right?
Yeah. So it was the birthplace where Lord Lever had his first factory. They first made soap, and it's still a historical village. They have a lot of the houses remain in the same way they were back then, and it's a really fascinating place to just go and visit and sort of immerse yourself in how it used to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Lovely. Thank you, Natalia. And to come back to you, Ellen, so talk to me a little bit more about the opportunities that you've got on your hub on Gradcracker. So just to be fair to the students who are watching, we have closed the Unilever graduate opportunities for this year. But if you are looking for a degree apprenticeship or an internship year-long placement, they are still live and open for applications. So Ellen, what's on offer this year?
Yeah, of course. So we have, as you just said, we have our industrial placement programs that are still live for applications. So that is a 12-month scheme, typically for kind of penultimate year university students. You know, you've done a couple of years at university, you then need to come and do a year in industry with us, and then you would go back to university at the end of your placement for your final year. Like I said, they're 12-month schemes. They start in June and then they finish the following June every year. And we've got them across most of our functions, to be honest. So if you think about the life cycle of one of our products and how it's made, you can probably work at any stage of that on one of our placement schemes. So marketing, sales, legal, HR, technology, supply chain, communications and corporate affairs, sustainability, and now I'm going to forget the last two off the top of my head. Finance, I don't think I said.
You did say that.
And we've got one more in there as well, which I can't think of. But yeah, we've got them like across most areas of our business that you can work in.
Lovely. And you have something called rolling deadlines, don't you? And Ellen, so as soon, what basically that means to our audience, there isn't a deadline on the Unilever Hub on Gradcracker, because as soon as Ellen's team has received enough applications, they will close the opportunities. So it is well worth getting your application in sooner rather than later. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah, definitely. The sooner you get it in, the more chance it will be seen, and just make sure you don't miss those closing dates, because they can happen at any time when we receive enough applications. We do normally post on our Instagram when we're going to close, so we normally give around 24 hours notice on there just to give everyone a heads up, and then you can head back to Gradcracker and complete your application if you see that. But yeah, we close on a rolling basis. I should also say we also have lots of degree apprenticeships available on Gradcracker for you to apply to as well. So again, there's lots of different types of programs, and it's more the program you'd apply for than the function, but we offer things like chartered management, sales, again, a technology program. We have a data science program. Then we have lots of programs that would be based in our research and development labs as well. So things like lab science, packaging, food professional, and I think that's it actually for our R&D program. Data science is another one, but data science, you could be in a lab or in an office. It depends on where you want to be based. So yeah, lots of different degree apprenticeship opportunities available on Gradcracker too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ellen. I was just looking at my list because I've got all those listed. I was like, yep, you said that one. I was going to try and help you out with that question. And finally, Ellen, we do have a question for Hannah, who studies at the University of West London, and would like to know, what degree subjects do people applying for jobs with Unilever need to have?
So we don't really mind. It kind of depends on the function you're applying for. The only functions that have a specific requirement, and now we said we closed for the grad scheme, but I'll share it anyway in case people are interested in future years. So for all of our graduate schemes, you could be studying any degree discipline, apart from if you're applying for the research and development scheme, in which case we look for a strong technical qualification in chemical, biological, physical, or food related science. And we also accept things along the lines of chemical, material and engineering related disciplines for that scheme as well. So R&D is a little bit more technical, but the rest of the functions, there's no real preference on degree. It's just that you have kind of a passion for that area that they're looking for. Same goes for the industrial placement programs. The only one where they slightly look at your degree is our supply chain industrial placement scheme is kind of split into two halves. There's a technical program and there's a non-technical program. So non-technical, you're more likely to be working in an office-based environment, things like planning, logistics, quality, whereas technical, you're more likely to be based in our factories environment, working kind of on the factory floor, on the lines, or one of our machines making our products. So they do look for degrees. They just kind of specify STEM. So it doesn't necessarily matter what you're studying, but that you have that STEM background is kind of what they're looking for the technical industrial placement scheme. Yeah. Otherwise, again, the functions don't really mind what you're studying as long as you have a passion for the particular area that you're applying for.
Super. And don't forget to get that passion across when you do apply into the Unilever opportunities. So for now, I'm going to say thank you very much, Ellen.
No worries.
Do have a point actually I wanted to say before I move on to you, Jess. Sorry, just came to my mind. Think about the graduate opportunities. So if you are thinking about applying to a Unilever graduate opportunity in the future, don't forget that you can follow Unilever on Gradcracker to be alerted when they do open the opportunities next year on Gradcracker. I know next October seems a long time away, but believe me, it will be here sooner rather than you think. So yes, applications are open for interns, industrial placements and degree apprenticeships, so go and apply to those and follow Unilever to be open when the graduate opportunities open next year. So thank you, Ellen. Jessica, over to you.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you, Ellen. Super interesting. So yeah, thank you for that really great introduction. So Dalia, I'm going to come to you first, and we'll do the placement students first, and then Natalia, I'm going to come to you if that's okay. So Dalia, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? So, for example, where you are currently going to university, what you study, and your current role at Unilever, please.
Yes, of course. So I go to University of Westminster and I study data science and analytics. I'm based in Burton, which is our condiments factory. We make Hellmann's mayo, Marmite, Bovril, and much more condiments than that. But those are the main three that I like. And I'm in a digital team, so that might sound really broad, but it's kind of data related and just digitalizing the factory, and that's a good, I'd say that's a good explanation. So yeah, I do a lot with data and a lot with different applications such as Power BI. I've been at Unilever for, it's crazy to say, but nearly 4 months now. Actually just hit 4 months today, actually. Time has flown by. But yeah,
you enjoying it?
I absolutely love it. It's been such a good development opportunity. I would say everyone here is so friendly, so smart, and I've learned so much from everyone.
So data science. So, you know, there might be maybe more those obvious industries. So why Unilever? What attracted you to think, oh, I want to try a placement opportunity with Unilever and find out more what they do? Why did you do that?
So I was very interested in the FMCG industry. As Ellen mentioned, it's fast-moving consumer goods. I think the fact that their products are everywhere and we get to be part of that supply chain and part of producing these products and having pride with these products is what kind of pushed me towards Unilever.
Yeah.
A lot of their values and the culture here is so amazing. So obviously how much we value the environment and the social side of the company is just amazing. So I think that's what really pushed me towards Unilever. And obviously all the amazing products that we now get to be a part of. So even just like Vaseline, Dove, all these things that I grew up using, knowing that I'm part of a company that produces them is so crazy to me every day. Like when I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this product that I'm using as my deodorant today is made in one of our factories.
It must be a bit strange now when you've kind of gone behind the curtain almost and you've seen what it's really like. And is it strange now when you, like you say, when you do pick up whatever project it is and you think, I've made that. I'm proud of myself.
Especially with condiments, because I'm based at Burton, which makes Marmite and mayonnaise, and I feel like Hellman's is the most popular and the best mayonnaise.
It
is.
Exactly. So whenever I like see it at the supermarket or I see it in my house, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's made just 100 meters from me right now. It's just mad.
Dali, do you know any crazy stats? Because I quite liked your stat, Ellen. I thought that was pretty impressive. But do you have any crazy stats from your office that how many bottles of mayonnaise you produce a minute?
Ooh, I don't actually know, but a lot.
A lot.
When I first came here and I saw the size of like the machinery that produces these products, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how fast these boxes are coming out right now. But
Yeah.
it is crazy. Yeah.
So you're enjoying it.
Yes.
The 4 months, you're loving it.
Yes, I'm loving it. I've learned so much. And I just feel like beyond even just developing professionally, I've also just developed communication skills, just yeah, so many things that will help me just beyond my professional career.
I'm going to probably say this to all of you who are doing a placement, but do you feel as though it's changed you already as an individual? Do you feel as though, again, those softer skills that you've learned, not just the technical knowledge, but those soft skills, do you feel more confident in yourself?
Yeah, I for sure do. I feel like my communication with senior people at the company has gotten much better to when I first joined, and just my understanding of different people, different cultures has also gotten much better. Like I feel like I can speak to anyone now, whereas before I was much more shy and to myself.
Yeah. And again, that's just another, one of the many reasons why doing a placement is hugely beneficial. So perfect introduction. So thank you so much. Camille, I'm going to come to you next. Similar kind of questions, if that's okay. So where you currently go to university, what do you study, current role, all that kind of stuff.
So I go to University of Manchester and I study chemistry, and I'm currently a formulation student. So I'm based in the Leeds DO Research and Development site.
Fantastic. And tell us your current role then. So what's your official job title as such?
My official job title is a formulation scientist. So I'm currently in the men's team, so Axe, Dove Men Plus Care, and I'm working a lot on like body spray formulations and things like that.
Okay. And how's it going? How long have you been in the role for? And yeah, are you enjoying it?
I've been here for 4 months as well, so
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. It's been great. It's been a great 4 months, and it's really whizzed by. I'm a third of the way through now.
Oh, yeah, it does fly by. We were saying this earlier before we started, didn't we? So tell us then a bit about, obviously working in and I suppose I should have asked you this you as well, Dahlia. So, how do you kind of pick kind of the products that you might be working on, the people that you might be working with? How does that work, and how have you found yourself fitting in the team?
So I got assigned my team on the first day. So
Okay.
in terms of formulation students, I think there's 4 of us, and we all got put in separate teams to make sure that we don't just like only speak to each other. And it's been my team's amazing. My team is really nice. It's not a very big team, which I think is like even better because we get to just like we get on like amazingly.
Do you?
Yeah.
And how big's your team?
In terms of, we've got like 2 to 3 people that are in different, like we'll have our big men's team, and then we'll have like 2-3 people that are in charge of like claims, people that are project leads, formulators, but in terms of marketing and legal, that is kind of separate from us though. But
yeah. So you're kind of with a set group of people pretty much most days.
Yeah.
Assuming you're in the office.
Yeah, I'm in the office. Like 4 days a week. Sometimes it really just depends in terms of whether I need to be in the lab or not.
Yeah. And how would you find lab work? Because I know some students find they absolutely love it. Some students don't love it that much, and maybe want to do something a little bit different. How do you find that, and how do you find your kind of split your time across those 4 days? Is it pretty much 4 days in the lab, or do you kind of get to be away in the office?
It's good because I can just really drop in whenever I like, because I can be sitting at my desk and be sitting at my desk and just think, oh, I need to go quickly make this, and then you just do it. It's really like it's extremely different to uni, where it's like I'd have like 2 set days in the labs where I'm there doing an experiment that I have to do, that I've been told to do by lecturers, whereas this is just like I'm going in on my own accord, and like I'll spend like a few hours like in the morning, and then I'm done with my own little project that I had to do. But it's a lot, and the type of lab work is really different to uni. It's not like yeah, it's a lot less like technical in the way of like the kind of instruments that you use. So I feel like when like uni chemistry, it's a lot of like refluxing and things like that. With this, it's a bit more simple. So I think that's also makes it so much easier to, and like you more willing to go into the lab, because you know you don't have to like take hours to set up all this equipment.
Yeah,
which is nice. But yeah, and then I try to do like maybe like 2 mornings, or like where I like to get all my like lab work out the way, and then the rest is quite a lot of office work as well.
And do you feel as though you've been, because you said you've obviously, by the sounds of it, got your own projects. We're going to be talking a bit more about projects in a bit more detail a little bit later on. But by the sound, you've been given quite a little bit of work to work on yourself. And how have you found that, being only 4 months in, but being given projects and say, right, go and figure that out? How have you found that?
We got given our projects like on the first day that we joined, and I have a buddy that helps me, and she helped to guide me, but then like you kind of understand where you want to take your project just from like the kind of the background that they give you. And I find like it's really good having all that like autonomy to do whatever I want with it, and that's the kind of freedom that you don't really have at uni, which I really like about this.
And is it okay, like worst case scenario, if you don't come to the same conclusion or the right conclusion, it's kind of okay, you know?
Well, I guess with science, you can never really know whether you're gonna come to a conclusion. What matters is like, even if it doesn't work, I guess knowing that it doesn't work is still a good piece of information.
Yeah, definitely. It must be so nice to see as well how you can apply your knowledge out into industry now as well. Like you're saying, like just even with the lab work and that experience, but now seeing how I can really visualize where I can see my career going.
Yeah.
Can you imagine yourself now in the future pursuing a career down this path?
Yeah, because I feel like at uni a lot of what I thought was going to be my future was just like research, in terms of like PhD kind of research, and like research which was on a much like more minor scale in terms of like molecular pathways and things like that. But it's nice being able to go and make something that is like feasible and I can like use it.
So well done you. It's good. It's really, really good. Perfect. We're going to come back to you in a little bit more detail, like I said, later on, to find out about the projects and things like that. But Bruna, I'm going to come to you. So how are you finding your time here? Again, similar kind of questions in terms of introduce us to where you go to university, what you study and everything else.
Cool. Hi, I'm Bruno. I go to York University normally, studying economics. Been here 4 months as well, flown by for me as well. My role, it's a bit long. It's digital CTI research and data analyst, so a bit of a long one.
Yeah.
Basically, part of CTI, so consumer technical insights. So we look at what we ask lots of questions to consumers, and then we use that information to then lead where the research and development of our deodorants is going.
Okay. Yeah.
So the work that I do will then effectively, I inform people to then change what the deodorants look like. So,
okay. Just physically look like, or like the contents inside, like the
well, mostly mine's just physical. Other teams look at like seeing how people like the formulas or the fragrances, but I look at mostly just the physical deodorant. Yeah.
So what is it, like a mass survey there? How do you get all this data, and how do you get people that are willing to give you feedback on this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so you just send out lots of surveys to different people, and you see what they respond. So you just send them out, dependent on what people ask us to send them out. Like teams will come in and ask us to ask questions, and then we'll send them out, and then I have to create reports on that and then present that to my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it? Is it what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been given way more responsibility than I thought. I thought I'd come in and they'd tell me exactly what I need to do, and then I do that. But the roles, there's much more freedom for me and much more responsibility, which at first was a lot of pressure, but it makes it more enjoyable, because then you can just you can take it where you want to go. Like if I put more effort in, or I want to go into if I want to research in a different area or something, then I'm given the possibility to do that, which I don't think is necessarily possible at another company where working on such a large scale in Unilever, you're given the chance to like actually have an impact. So that's quite cool.
And would you say, Bruno, was that one of the reasons why you were initially attracted to Unilever to do your placement with them?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was debating. I mean, I do economics, so I didn't have much of an idea where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But this role really stood out to me for just the ability to do what I want really and take it where I want to go with this position. So
yeah,
Unilever's offered that, whereas other companies I don't know whether they would have. So yeah.
It's a thought though, and Ellen, can I come back to you? You can almost have a career, multiple careers within Unilever, really, couldn't you? I haven't really thought of it like that, but you could almost move from products to product to different groups.
Yeah, we always say, because I think we get a lot of people are really interested in working with some of our bigger brands, Dove, Hellmann's, and they want to work for those. I guess when you apply to Unilever, you're not just necessarily applying to work with Dove or Hellmann's. Like the idea is that you would, if you want to grow within the company, if you want to continue your career within the company, you work across kind of all of our business groups at one point. So it might be you're working on some of our home care brands for a bit, then you change and work on our personal care brands, and then you change and work on some of our foods brands, and then you change and work on some of our beauty and wellbeing brands. So you can kind of have quite a varied career, and each business group is quite different in terms of how they operate, what products they have, what insights they might be getting, what are the formulas and the formulations behind our products, because they're such different products as well. Some you're using on your body, some you're eating, some you're using in your home to clean things. So it's very, very different in terms of the science behind it and how we make those products as well, and like what insights we might get from consumers in terms of how we can improve those. So yeah, you can have quite a varied career in one company, which I think is quite unique to the FMCG industry, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
It is really, isn't it? To have multiple options. Also, is there an option in the future potentially, and Natalia, we will come to you, I promise. But is there an option in the future as well, maybe when you're on the graduate program, or maybe once you've come off, maybe more senior, to potentially travel internationally with Unilever?
Yeah, it really depends on the type of job that you are doing and what role you're in. I think we are obviously on a Zoom webinar today. Lots of things can just be done on Zoom, on Teams. There's not that much travel, I would say, especially in the start of your career. But again, you might be working on a project, or you might be doing something where actually that does involve some more international travel, or it might be as you get a bit more senior in the company where that is required for some of the things that you do. But I have known, so I think we've got someone on our graduate scheme in tech at the moment who's doing their current rotation in the US. So like there are people that do some rotations abroad, but I would say it's few and far between. So I wouldn't necessarily come here expecting that would happen, but sometimes the right opportunity comes up and it could be a possibility. But yeah, it really, really does depend on the job you're doing, what comes up at the time when you're moving or you're doing your job, and whether it's a possibility that it can be done in person in that other country rather than on Zoom, on Teams, which is typically what we do.
Perfect.
If I can, I would just add to that as well. Some of the grads specifically, for example, if they work in packaging, then you do a lot of supplier visits to check, the products they make. Or some grads I know as well have done, especially if they work in the factory or in supply chain, they go on factory trials when they're actually launching, for example, a new innovation. You have to go as a representative to ensure that everything's running the way it's meant to be. So there have been some grads that have been able to do that. But again, they're sort of a short-term visit to just quality check.
Perfect. Natalia, come back to you. So yeah, introduce yourself. Sorry that it's nearly 5:30 and we're only getting to you. So yeah, tell me a little bit about where you went to university, a little bit about you, everything you kind of just said before the webinar. Just do it again.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia. So I am on my second year of the Research and Development Future Leadership Program, and I'm on my second rotation as well. So the unique thing about the Future Leadership Program is that we do get to rotate. And as you already very well spoke with Ellen about, is that you get to experience all the different categories, but also different roles within your function, which is a really amazing opportunity to just understand where you fit in and also broaden your experience in general. I studied at the University of Leeds, so I did an integrated master's in chemical materials engineering with an industrial placement as well. And I joined Unilever, as I said, September of last year.
And yeah, so to go back a step again, why was Unilever an option for you? What made you think when you were, looking at the particular option that you obviously applied to, thinking this is me and I want to do this job?
So I was really interested in FMCG, and I already knew that as going into the applications. And to be honest, Unilever was one of the companies that I sort of knew from the beginning that I just wanted to eventually see if I could get a position there. And the Future Leadership Program is one of those unique opportunities where you really get to experience so much in 3 years. And it's a long graduate scheme if you compare it to other ones as well. So you really do get to experience so much within that. And just the reach that Unilever has across so many countries, so many people. And even now, working in different roles, you get to also work with different countries and products that they have. And even the other day, I had a product from Indonesia that we make, and you'd never experience that unless obviously you go travel there, but just understanding how it's made, how it's different to products that we make here, for example. I found that really fascinating, and to be in research and development as well, that's sort of where the magic happens of really understanding what science we can have in the future, how we can innovate, how we can really excel the products to have the best for our consumers and fit their needs.
Oh, wow. So in terms of your rotations then, how do you pick where you're going to go next? Is that just where kind of instincts, or where there is an opportunity? How does that work?
It really depends on the function that you're in. For R&D, the first rotation you are assigned, I think that's general across the board. But then you really get a lot of ownership of deciding your future rotations. So we have a career sponsor, which is someone who looks after us for all 3 years. And there's a senior member, so usually a director, and they focus on our personal development to ensure that the rotations we do have fit into really tailoring them so that we develop in the areas that we need development in, so that we become well-rounded future leaders. And so, on rotations 2 until the last one, you really get a lot of opportunity in understanding, okay, this is where I need to develop in. And then you talk to different teams and understand where there is space for you to have a project in, for example. And then, usually that it just works that way, that you sort of find a fit. And a lot of the times there's so many opportunities that it's hard to pick from. And it's really, it's really challenging to narrow it down and see that career path and how everything fits in.
So Nasir, tell us a bit about the project that you've been involved in. Then, what was your favourite project you've done so far?
So I've done a couple of different ones. I think if it's okay, I'll say 2 because they're quite different. So in my last rotation, I was working as a processing workstream lead in our science and technology group. So that's really looking at technology innovations for 10 years plus. So it's really just looking at trialing what can work and what can we see in the future that might not be in market for multiple years. So that was really fascinating, just to see how much we're doing in terms of working for sustainability and making our products even more sustainable. So that was a really interesting project to be in. I can't go into much detail, obviously, but it was just to see that process and how much research goes into it, and the effort that goes into conceptualizing something that might not be in market for the next 5 years, for example. And then currently I'm working on the opposite spectrum. So I'm working actually in a brand, so in the Tresemme brand, and I'm working on innovations for different countries, which again is where you get that regional exposure and communicating to the teams based there. And just understanding the consumer needs for different hair types, different consumers, something I'd never thought I'd know before, is like really understanding hair. And I feel quite self-conscious now of using the right products for my hair type. But it's been really good. And I've been involved in a lot of strategic planning for the Tresemme portfolio as well, in terms of the technology and formats that might be suitable for the upcoming years.
Oh my God, you've given me so many things there. And I suppose I didn't really think about it myself either. I think you mentioned right at the beginning, like the kind of the life cycle of products. I was kind of stupidly only thinking from kind of coming up with the idea to then get it out to market. But then there is like then at the end of products, and then again, different products across different places around the world and what works, what doesn't. It's amazing, really, all the things you've got to think of. It must be, it goes back to your point, Dahlia, as well, that, the culture, working with different people, and, it's so easy sometimes to be in a little bubble, isn't it? And you kind of set your sails on just one particular thing, but it must be really interesting all the time to have so much things to play with and to consider.
Yeah, I fully agree. I feel like sometimes I'll message someone in a team based in Poland, for example, and they'll help me and they'll give me a completely new perspective on something.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great to get that exposure on so many levels, isn't it? It's really, really exciting. So coming, I'll stick with you, Dahlia, whilst we're with you. Tell us a little bit about a project then that you've been involved in so far, and what particular experience has really stood out to you.
Yeah, so I'm the same as Natalia. I don't think I can say one project without having to go on to a second one. But for example, I've been working on a factory dashboard, and that's been very interesting because you get to communicate with all the senior leadership in a factory, and you get to communicate with the factory director and understand their requirements and what they want to see to make key decisions. So just in case anyone's unfamiliar with the dashboard, it's basically a key decision making tool that you can make on a data visualization platform. So I've got to explore, honestly, every part of a factory business, because you have to make every senior leader happy when you're creating something like this. So that's one project I've been a part of. And I've also been able to take full leadership of, which has been really amazing. And then kind of on a completely different side, and not really on a digital side, but still in a data side, is waste reduction project. So projects where you're working with an operator who is someone who works down on the shop floor. And I've been part of a Dragon's Den project where they pitch a waste reduction idea, and you work as their sponsor and you work as their key communicator with different leadership, different teams across the factory. So I've been communicating for the operator towards quality, towards making the changes. So it's like two completely different projects, but I've been allowed to take leadership of both of them, because I feel like at Unilever, if you say, hey, I'm really interested in getting to know more about the production side of my job role or the digital side of my job role, honestly, it's all in your own hands. What you do is what you get out of it. Like, it's just been truly amazing to say, I want to do this to my manager, and you get a lot of support.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Dahlia. And Bruno, that kind of links back to like what you were saying as well. You just constantly just want to think about trying to get the most out of this experience. What situation can I put myself in to get the most out of it? So, Bruno, tell us a little bit about maybe a project that you've been involved in that maybe has stood out to you so far.
Yeah, one I'd say that I've been doing recently, we were given quite a broad brief to create an app that would help the team. So I've been creating an app that will help to increase like the team workflow in the R&D center here. So we're going to present it to everyone here in the next week or two. And it's just about a place where you can log all the activities going on, all the clubs that are happening, or you can post new events or achievements that you've done. So I think that project just shows that we're given like the independency and the leadership to be able to take it where we want to go. And it's such a broad brief that I was given that I then could just pick what I wanted to do with the app, and hopefully everyone will enjoy it, and it will be used and it will be used for when I'm not here. So
legacy. That's what you're leaving behind, Bruno.
Exactly.
How would you feel getting all this responsibility so early on? Do you find you don't get overwhelmed with it?
I mean, there's a good buddy system here.
Okay, tell us about it.
So it can feel a bit overwhelming, but every placement student's paired up with a buddy. So then you can talk with them. I've scheduled like a monthly chat with my buddy, and we just talk for about half an hour, and we just go over how I'm feeling if I'm stressed, And it's not my line manager, so it's someone I can talk to maybe more freely about how I'm feeling, and I won't feel judged. So that way, yeah, you don't feel too stressed about what's going on. And if I do feel like that, I know there's someone I can talk to,
Yeah.
not have it impact, like, because if it's my line manager, I might feel a bit more pressure to not say
do
anything.
the right thing on. Yeah. That's really good. So the buddy then, did you know the buddy before you officially joined, or would you assign the buddy pretty much as soon as you started, really?
Yeah, so they assigned my buddy, like, just it's someone in my team, slightly separate, that I don't work with day to day, but I was assigned my first day here, and I met them.
Yeah.
So yeah, got to
Is
know
that
them.
common then? Do you all get a buddy, do you?
I was going to say, I think
Oh,
it's
sorry, Ellen.
quite it can be quite site specific, and kind of
Okay.
how each site might run their schemes. Or let's say a placement student comes to us and say that, you know, they would like that type of mentor, then we can help to try and pair them up with someone. We often use our grads as well as that mentor, or especially when if you've been given an offer to join the placement scheme, in the months between you getting an offer and actually starting with us, which can be quite a few months depending on when you come to an assessment centre, we do give everyone an onboarding buddy, and sometimes those relationships continue once they started in the company as well. So it depends on, yeah, kind of where you're based. Do you feel you need that? And if you kind of keep those relationships up yourself with that onboarding buddy that you've been given to kind of help with questions in the months leading up to your placement. So yeah, it kind of depends, I would say, based on where you are, and where we have people who are willing to be buddies. But yeah, if it's something that a placement student or a grad is after, then we can, obviously, as Natalia was saying, from a graduate scheme perspective, they do have that career sponsor role, which is someone quite senior in our business who they rotate around to different roles, but the career sponsor is constant across the entire 3 years to kind of provide that visibility, development support, and help plan those rotations in the future as well.
Yeah, perfect. That's good to know. It's nice that you got that then, Bruno.
Yeah, I didn't
You'll
realize
probably find that you'll stay friends with them.
yeah, they are very nice.
Yeah, no, that's nice. And it's good to keep those contacts that you make.
Yeah, exactly. Good to get to know people that stay in.
Exactly, yeah, it puts you in that situation. So well done. Camille, I'm going to come to you next, talking a little bit about training and development and kind of that support that you get. Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced so far and how does that work, and you know, how have you been learning from that development that you've been receiving?
In terms of training on things like I get trained on like specific formulations which are specific to my role. So like I've been trained in like how to make like an antiperspirant base and things like that. But in the first few weeks, the training that I got was decided by my buddy, and to like just to make sure that the students that need training on one thing are trained together rather than just like a bunch of random one-on-one training sessions, just to save people's time. But then because health and safety is a really big thing, at least in the R&D site, so a lot of, if there's a specific task that I need to get done, there's a long list of trainers, and if there's a trainer associated with a specific task, and it's really easy for me to just message them and be like, hey, if you've got 5 minutes, would you mind training me? And then I can log it onto our safety app, which it's really easy. Like, and I feel like it's good because if I wanted to get trained on as something else, just to kind of feel like I'm getting as much as I can out of the placement, and like I just can. There's no really limit on like what I can and can't be trained on.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And then in terms of personal development, there's a lot of like the online courses and like certifications that we get sent that we can do, just to like because I feel like personal development is also a big thing, not only just like developing your career with this placement is obviously amazing, but then like the amount of like just other skills that you get from like doing those like online courses as well is quite good.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, and making time for that as well, and you know, kind of self-reflecting and think, oh, what could I learn on here, and you know, what could I develop more on? And Natalia, come to you on that. As a graduate, do you kind of get similar support then? Is that still offered to you?
Yes, so we also have a tailored graduate training program where it's across the 3 years, and it's universal across all the different functions. So for example, for the first year, you learn about a lot about like financial and business acumen, to just develop your understanding of how a business runs as a whole. And then there's more specific ones to leadership style as well, and different ways of working. So like agile ways of working, to understand how different companies as well launch their products, just to get that awareness of how you would become a good leader. And I think that's a really good thing as well, because everybody has such different leadership styles, and you see that rotating with different line managers and different senior stakeholders that you interact with, but also just to understand for yourself how your behavior and your personality adapts that has been really insightful. And then, you know, similarly to the IPs as well, we have specific trainings for that role that you're in, because you do enter some roles that you might not have any experience in before. So for example, say like if I went to claims or to CTI, I'd never done that before. You have a training program for that specific role itself, and then additional trainings that we have virtually led with other organizations and agencies that help us again through these different developing these different skills that will be useful for us for our development.
Yeah, that's great. You get so much support.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the idea, because you've got so many different things all the time to consider, like you've said in your role, which just sounds so amazing. But it's great that you get that support and you feel as though you can ask and you've got that chance to develop.
Yeah, I would say one of the best ones I've done, we do purpose training, and I think that's really great for Unilever, that they focus on the fact that you need to know your own purpose, so that you know how to motivate yourself and what brings you that joy, or becoming showing your best self. And you know, it's a very a meaningful training to do, because you discover so much about yourself and realize, oh yeah, this is actually what brings me that joy and what I see myself going into as a, you know, skills and what you want to give back, rather than just a career role in itself.
Yeah, well done you. And that's great reflection of Unilever, that they offer that and they can support you that way. Dali, I'm going to come to you next, just a little bit about some of the fun stuff. And Bruno, you might want to add into this when you said about the project that you worked on with the app. But tell us a little about maybe the social stuff that you've been involved in so far. Have you had any lovely days out or evenings with work colleagues?
Yeah, so our onboarding was great. I think Ellen actually might have helped plan that. So thank you, Ellen. That was amazing. It was a really nice onboarding. We got to meet the rest of our industrial placement cohort, and then we had a social afterwards, and we got to get introduced to the business by speaking to a lot of the senior stakeholders. So we got to speak to a factory director in Port Sunlight, and she gave a really nice speech, which was great. And then we got to speak to people from different functions. So we got to speak to finance, marketing, R&D. So that was a really, really fun few days. And then we had a great social afterwards. I would say another really good part of the social life here is you get to join a team. So I'm in the outreach team, which involves going to different universities and promoting Unilever and future careers. So I recently went to University of Nottingham, and I'm going to King's College soon. So I think it's great that we can go back to university and help people want to apply for a placement or a grad scheme.
Yeah. It won't be long and you'll be back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, have a lovely time doing that. It's nice that you can give back. And again, it's probably really quite, I bet you feel quite proud of yourself as well, being in those situations.
Yeah, and it feels really nice to be able to give advice to people who are asking, do you have any tips for applying for an industrial placement? And it is nice. I feel like it's a good social aspect to also get to meet people from different parts of the business. So a grad might come who's based in London, and I'm based in Burton, and we'll get to catch up and see how they're doing, how their experience is going. So it's a nice part of the placement.
Yeah, I like that. No, it's nice to get to do that. Bruno, have you got anything to add to that? Because like I say, with your app that you've built and other bits.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I think this is more, it might be Leeds specific, but we've got lots of little, I mean, you could say clubs, but things that people have organized themselves. So we've got on Monday, we have a five-a-side football. I think there's a D&D club that people do, a book club people do once a week. So there's lots of little clubs that people have set up in themselves,
Yeah.
that people can join, which is nice. As placement students, we're all close, so you might be scared going into a workplace on your own, but you can have lots of, like, there's 5 or 6 of other placement students where we are, so we can all have lunch together and stuff, and we plan to go out together. There's quite a lot of social events that go on here, and we had Wellbeing Week recently,
Cool, brilliant.
where there was a great table tennis tournament which I organised, so maybe a bit biased.
Did you win to top it off?
Well, it's not over yet, but I'm in
Oh, okay.
the semi-final, so
Oh,
hopefully.
well done.
Oh.
Well, make sure you take some pictures and stuff like that, and let us know how you get on, and
I will do.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to add to that? Because otherwise, I'm conscious that we need to get back to Ellen and Carla to find out about what everyone needs to do next. But
I was just going to say, like, obviously Bruno's mentioned it for Leeds. A lot of our sites do have their own versions of these clubs that kind of people at the site have set up. So I'm based in our Kingston office, and again, I believe there's a football team. I think there might be a netball team that they set up as well. And yeah, there's lots of activities. There's also a lot of kind of volunteering days that happen across the board. And again, sometimes it can be quite site specific in terms of what types of things the site's organise. But we recently had an activation in Kingston around kind of supporting at a food bank. There's a walk each year that we do. It's called the Great Walk, and it's to raise money for various charities that people from the business kind of nominate charities that the money would go to, and then one gets kind of picked, or 1 or 2 get picked every year. There we go. Look, Natalie's holding up her bottle. So it's you either walk a 10K, a half marathon, or a full marathon, and you kind of raise money from your own network, family, friends, for the walks that you're going to do. And it's quite a big day out that I think a lot of Unilever employees across the UK get involved in and come and kind of walk at, and it's a really like great day to bring everyone together and also raise a lot of money for charity as well. So yeah, there's lots of charitable events and the social side of things that people can get involved in too.
Brilliant. Natalia, is that what you did? Is that why you've got
Yeah, so I did it. I don't remember when it was, but it was last spring. And it was, seeing so many Unilever employees in one spot, and it's in London, so we don't go to the London office as often. So even seeing the grads that are based there was really good, and just seeing the teams and catching up. And it's a really sort of, you immerse yourself with everyone, and it's quite it's a long day, but it's enjoyable, and it's for charity, so it's always worthwhile.
Carla, back to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. And Ellen, I'm going to ask you about the recruitment process. So I've mentioned that your industrial placements, your degree apprenticeships are currently live on Gradcracker. So what is involved in the application when students want to apply?
Yeah, of course. So when I say about the industrial placement program, it's actually the same for our graduate scheme as well. Perfect. So obviously we're not open for those still, but again, in future years it might be worthwhile knowing. So both programs involve an application form in the first instance. So we don't ask for CV, we don't ask for a cover letter. It's just the form that will be kind of linked to from the Gradcracker hub, where you would apply, fill your details in, and answer the questions that it's asking you. For the industrial placement program, there are a few kind of motivational questions on there. So I think we see a lot of people start their application and get to that stage, and it kind of stops, and they don't carry on their application, probably because they want to think about it and come back. So I just want to warn everyone, there are some motivational questions for you to answer as part of the application form as well. If you do well on those motivational questions, you will then be passed to our online assessments. The online assessments are a series, they're slightly different for the grad scheme versus the placement scheme in terms of what you're asked and what the assessments look like. I can't give too much detail away, unfortunately, but they're designed to test things like numerical and verbal reasoning skills, aspects of your personality, again, your motivations, and kind of like your cognitive ability as well. That's kind of the purpose of them. If you are successful on those and pass through the assessments, you will then be invited to a video interview. It's not a live video interview, so you're not talking to someone in the moment, but you're given some questions. You're asked to record your answer and then submit that. What I will say is that the recording of your answer, and also actually those motivational questions that you answer in the application form, are reviewed by a person in our recruitment team. So please just be rest assured that a human is reviewing whatever it is that you submit during your application process as well. And then finally, if you pass the video interview, you'd be invited to a discovery centre Lots of other companies call it an assessment centre. We call it a discovery centre, but it's the same thing. And you'll be there with some other candidates, assessors on the day, doing a variety of activities and tasks and exercises throughout the day. It involves an interview, a group challenge, a functional challenge, and a bit of a self-reflection exercise on the end. Again, I can't go into too much detail on the task specifically, but I can tell you what it involves, which is those 4 things at the moment. So that's what it looks like for the industrial placement and graduate scheme. For level 6 apprenticeships or degree apprenticeships, again, there's the online form with motivational questions. Again, there's the online assessment. The only difference is we don't have a video interview. So you do the application. If you're past those motivational questions, you'll do the online assessments. If you pass those, you'll be invited to come and do a discovery centre with us. Again, same flow, same format in terms of what is involved in the discovery centre, and you'll be with other candidates and assessors on the day.
Perfect. And you mentioned, Ellen, that you humans do look at all of the applications. So we do want to factor in at this part of the webinar about your stance on the use of AI. Now, I know Unilever doesn't necessarily have a stance, but by implying that humans do look at the applications would suggest that you would like people not to necessarily use AI.
But what our recruiters, when they're reviewing your video interview and your motivational question answers, want to see is, I guess, your thoughts, your opinions, your views, your answers. So I guess that's what we would love to see when you are applying to Unilever, and that's why we do have humans that review those, so that your responses can be reviewed kind of properly with the human eye, and kind of be taken into consideration that way. So that's all we ask. We just want to see your thoughts and kind of opinions that are your own, basically. So that's all we would ask.
Yeah, brilliant. And for somebody, Ellen, I know you mentioned at the beginning of the webinar about being an apprentice when you first started out at Unilever, and somebody now who has seen a few applications over the years that you've been there. Any hints and tips that you can give the students on being successful, or what do you look out for? Tell me a little bit more.
I think there's probably a few things. I think researching Unilever is probably the #1 tip I have. We do get video interviews and things from people who clearly just don't know who we are and what we do. And I think that's obviously a big downfall. So you can look at our website, you can look at our social media pages to kind of hear and learn the latest about Unilever and what our goals are and what we're trying to do as a company. I think the second one is, I mentioned it earlier, but like having a real interest in the area that you're applying for, and I guess showcasing that in the way you give your answers is really helpful as well. Because like if you're applying for research and development, why at Unilever are you applying to do that versus other companies that may offer similar schemes? Like, what is it about what we do that really interests and excites you in terms of how you want to do your placement year or your grad year or your apprenticeship, and what you're hoping to get out of it? Those are probably my main 2 tips. I don't know people that have been through it. Would you have any tips that I haven't shared? Any, Natalia, Dalia, Bruno, Camille, anything you would share?
I would say along those lines as well. I think it's really important to just showcase your own personality, because everything else just comes naturally. If you are passionate, if you have an interest, it will just come naturally. When I did mine, I did do a lot of research into even like the projects that Unilever does. So there's a lot in terms of like the sustainability clauses that we follow, and just little things like that you can bring in that really showcase that you've gone sort of the extra mile to understand the values, the culture, the behaviors, and sort of what Unilever is about. And then also just understanding if you yourself think you would fit that, because obviously it's a two-way streak, and sometimes it's dependent on if the company would also be a right fit for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why it's so important to do a placement as well, isn't it? So you experience, different industries and different sectors, different employers, different size of employers as well, to make, you think, oh, do I want to work in this industry? So this is why when Jess is speaking to the students, she always says, try and do a placement if you can, whether it's a summer or year long. Like you just mentioned, Natalia, the experience is both ways, isn't it, for the employer and also for the student?
Yeah. I think the other thing, I remembered one more thing, is like use your experiences to help with your answers as well. And I don't necessarily mean work experience, especially if you're applying for an industrial placement year. We don't necessarily expect you to have work experience. You're studying full time, but there might be societies you're part of, clubs that you're part of, things that you've done at university, group projects you've worked on, or you might have some work experience, even if it's working at a supermarket on the weekends or working as part of your student union. Like, there are transferable skills that you pick up as part of those roles, whether it is communication skills, teamwork, leadership, that you can bring into how you answer your questions as well. So don't think you just need to have work experience in your examples. There are other great things that you will have done, but you may not realize you've learned skills and gained experience from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've just kind of touched on this, Ellen, about you know, you might not have many skills or much experience. And we've actually got a question from Nathaniel at Queen's University Belfast. Queen's University Belfast has been brilliant this year with the questions and things like that. Really sent us loads through, so thank you for that. Do you need a lot of technical knowledge? So I'm thinking about our STEM students. Do you need a lot of technical knowledge to apply to the industrial placement opportunities?
So I think there's two different. So again, it depends on what you're applying for. Now, if you apply on the Gradcracker hub, we are not necessarily expecting you to have that technical experience. And where we are, we split that out. So like I said, supply chain, there is a technical stream you can apply for, where we are looking for that STEM background. There's a non-technical stream where we're not. So it really does depend on what we're applying for. Now, there are also some industrial placement programs at Unilever, and I think Bruno and Camille, you may be on these, where actually the site has recruited people because of the specific thing they're studying or the specific skill set that they can bring. So that's slightly different. You probably won't find those on the Gradcracker hub. They will be elsewhere on our website advertised for those. So again, if there is the more technical experience you're looking for, then there are some of those placement schemes that happen at Unilever as well. Just because you're applying a different way, everything else I've shared is the same. As you can see, you get involved in everything that happens at Unilever once you're in the business. So it makes no difference to us once you're here, but some teams are looking for quite technical abilities in their teams. And if they are, they recruit slightly separately to what you will find on the Gradcracker hub, which is where we expect no one to have any kind of technical ability as such. We're recruiting for a function, and there are different roles in that function that people would assign you to if you've been successful.
Perfect, lovely. Thank you very much for that, Ellen, and thank you everybody for joining us today on this Gradcracker webinar. Like I mentioned, don't forget we've still got the industrial placements and degree apprenticeships which are live on the Unilever hub on Gradcracker. Go and get your applications in. Like I said, when Ellen and Ellen's team have received enough applications, they will be closing their opportunities. So don't miss out. I mean, it sounds absolutely amazing what you can get up to at Unilever, so I don't want you to miss out, for people who are watching. And don't forget to follow them on Gradcracker as well to be alerted to their graduate opportunities or degree apprenticeships or placements for next year after. It gets confusing early career as well. But thank you everybody for joining us. I am putting my feet up now for a couple of weeks, but Jessica and Sophie are going to hold your hands and join us on Thursday the 30th of October with international consultancy and construction company Mace. So don't forget to join them then, and we will see you all soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.